Hi y'all, welcome to my shop. Do you only turn or do you sometimes practice turning? My pastor used the following quotation by Robert H. Schuller in a recent sermon. Although it's presented in a little different context, I think it applies to wood turning equally well. Spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. This message is for most novice turners, as most experienced turners already recognize the value of this advice. The point is, it's hard to just start out and make something spectacular without a lot of practice. It takes making a lot of shavings to get tool control. Until you get tool control, it's hard to get really comfortable holding your tools without using a death grip. If you're always worried about a catch, you won't enjoy turning much. Based on my personal experience and from observing many novice turners, I know it's equally difficult for many wood turners to think about form and design when struggling with basic tool control. If you want to make that lasting, smooth, clean cut on a bowl, my advice is take a bowl blank and simply practice your cuts. Observe the quality of cut when you start making changes in the flute position. Carefully observe the change in sound and cut quality after you sharpen your tool. Think about how you position your feet. Waste away the blank with practice cuts until you have nothing left but shavings. Find some little simple turning project that you can repeat over and over until you really get that muscle memory, so the tool the tool movement becomes effortless. And then do a lot of them. Doesn't matter whether it's a twig pot, tiny little ring bowl, bottle stopper, making a chess set. If it's something made of green wood, so much the better, because the shavings are nicer and there's a lot less dust. Practice. I know this advice is not well received by everyone. Some of us just more impatient than others. Whoever reads the instruction manual for assembling some new gadget we got anyway? Just look at the picture and do it. Get her done. Who wants to waste time practicing when they could be doing? Well, for me, part of the fun of wood turning is just making shavings. It just takes me to a different place. I forget about what's going on outside my shop and just enjoy the journey. Sometimes that journey results in something I want to show others. Sometimes it just results in shavings to mulch the backyard and designer firewood. It's all good. Think about the cuts that cause you problems or that you lack confidence in and practice them again and again and again. Start a turning session with a beads and cove stick. Practice, practice, practice. Now I want to show you a chest storage box I made. And I'm going to relate this to wood turning. I made a chess set recently, and you may remember seeing that series. I'll have a link to that playlist. It includes the board and all the chess pieces. I didn't make a video of making this box. Let me show this box to you. Because first of all, my channel is about wood turning first and foremost. And I did not want to make a video while I was concentrating on the basics of woodworking that I'd forgotten or never mastered. Now, what does this have with wood turning? Well, there are some similarities. Number one, I created something. There's design aspects, like what kind of lid I was going to make, how I was going to tie this functional box to the visually to my chessboard. And I did this by using the same wood in the wood burning the Zentangle. Let me show you that chessboard. So visually you can see how I tied it together by using the same cherry and the same plywood for the top. Another similarity of this box in wood turning is problem solving. I dealt with issues such as joinery, adding the hinge, the opening, what kind of closure. I used some rare earth magnets. And the reason I made this box is, you know, every time I walked by the table and I'd seen that chess set out and that cardboard box the chessmen were in, I realized I needed to do something about it. Another thing I had to do was make a jig. I had to make a jig to cut these little keys to support the miter cuts. And I looked around. I remember I had one I'd made a long time ago, because I first started making boxes probably 10 years ago when I first started getting into woodworking. And this is a pretty crude jig. And it wasn't good enough for this project. I had to make another jig. It's still pretty crude looking, but it allows me to move the box by putting spacers in here. This wide side stabilizes it, and having the handle made it easier. And it's worthwhile making a jig just for that one box. Another thing that was similar to some of the wood turning is I didn't have to go out and buy anything, because I was able to use scraps I had on hand. I even discovered a bunch of brass hinges that I picked up from some previous garage sale I didn't even remember I had. Now, what I didn't like about it, and different from wood turning, I didn't like the wood prep. I didn't like moving my joiner and planer, around because they're covered up. I use them once a year, every 2 years. And I had to move them around. I had to cobble together a connection to my dust collection system. I had to move things out of the way, so I didn't like that. I didn't like having to do some of the finishing for the box before I assembled it. I just wanted to glue it and get it together. Does that sound familiar? Impatience and getting in a hurry. I hated the smell of lacquer in my shop, and I disliked wearing a respirator with the charcoal filters. This reminded me why I never much got into spray finishing. Making a box reminds me of why I turned from general woodworking to wood turning when I got exposed to wood turning. Number one, I prefer the instant gratification of wood turning. I prefer the simpler wood prep of wood turning, of getting out the chainsaw, chopping up the wood with a chainsaw, moving to a bandsaw, and then being ready to turn. And I contrast with this box where I moved from machine to machine. Starting with a table saw, and then moving to the joiner, and then moving to the planer, then moving to the router, and then moving back to the table saw. When I was planning the box, I started getting overly ambitious, thinking this was going to be the ultimate chest storage box. Then I realized it'd be a good box. It'd be the best I could do right now with some of my somewhat basic general woodworking skill set. I'd have to get a lot more experience to master all the skills and details needed for a high-end box. Just like in wood turning, the key is practice, practice, practice. And that wasn't going to happen with square boxes, because I'd rather turn wood.